Welcome back to another Full Force Combat MMA podcast, proudly sponsored by Hez Boxing Equipment. I'm joined by the usual duo, Alex and Nathan. How are we doing, fellas?
Doing all right, Dan. How's it going, my mate?
Good. Very exciting weekend. Cage Warriors 184 got us started off on Friday night. That was the starter, and the main course on Saturday night, 185. But we'll just touch on the co-main event and the main event from Friday night. Matthew Camilleri. In a tough matchup against Jakobsen, Swede, coming up short. He just wanted to wrestle him, Matthew Camilleri. I think that was his game plan because it was a quiet event. You could hear everything as well. And you heard Paul Rimmer, Matthew Camilleri's head coach, Next Gen, screaming in the corner when he had him in position. Just punching Matthew, hit him, fucking hit him. And then Matthew would hit him in the body and you hear Rimmer go, in the fucking face, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, you could hear the shouting on Fight Pass too. You could hear it. I could hear it through my phone a little bit. Yeah.
But that was the story of that fight. And then Anthony Oscaro got a unanimous decision win. And I spoke to a couple of fighters on there. Damon Nomad Wilson got a great win. He's looking for contender series in the summer. But I'm just eager to talk about 185 because from top to bottom, that was stacked heavy with Renegade fighters, Next Gen fighters, and MMA Academy fighters. I spoke to lots, so it's just like, where do we start here, boys? Because
you've got to start with the lead, haven't you, Luke Riley?
Well, let's work our way down. Luke Riley, wow, this is a showstopper. It was expected, but for the fight itself, I was just really impressed with how strong he was. There was like at least 7 or 8 takedown attempts, and he defended them all perfectly, didn't he?
Yeah. Abasov, if I'm saying that right, the guy you fought, he come out dead strong, as expected. He was trying to take Luke Riley down straight away. He was trying. Tough first round for Luke Riley. It took him that first round to finish him out a little bit, but I think Terrell just seems to blow out of steam a bit, trying to keep on that heavy pace with the wrestling, and then that's when Luke's just shined. He was throwing beautiful body shots and knees up the middle, and then I think that just depleted it just gassed him out slowly, or well, not even slowly because it was over by halfway through the second round, so it wasn't even fucking slow like. But yeah, his gas tank was running low, and he just boom, some well-placed body shots. Knees up the middle, and it was fucking all she wrote. So it was a fucking class performance by Luke Riley, in my opinion. Had some adversity in the first round, but just fucking shut down his wrestling, and then he had nothing for him on the feet. So absolutely fucking class by Luke.
That's it. I mean, another excellent performance, and it didn't all go his way early on, but I think that's almost a good thing to show that you can overcome that first round and just fight and still end up with a really good finish and another one, and obviously good call out after on the commentary. And so it was a good night for Luke Riley, obviously, and most importantly, a great interview on Full Force Combat. So good night for Riley. And come on, can we say it a million times? Let's stop messing around. Get him in the UFC. None of this contender series nonsense. Just get him straight in there. Put him on a card. You can put him in like in one of those American cards, one of the big ones. Do it like Paddy. He's a fighter that people can take to very quickly because of his style. So let's just have him wheel him out as a big deal and see what happens, because he very much could be someone that the UFC could look to. And we spoke a couple of weeks about they're short on stars. There could be one waiting in Luke Riley.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I'd love nothing more for a featherweight. I've not looked at the 314 card like the prelims and whatever, but a featherweight on that card to pull out. And then they just give Luke Riley a call and say, right, are you ready? Right, come on, let's go. Let's get it kicking. However, I don't know if that would happen, but that's just living in dream world. Other than that, you could put him on any card anywhere in the world. And like you say, Nathan, is that exciting? He will absolutely deliver. They've seen something on Instagram today, and I had this conversation with someone on Saturday night. Lawson Kate, or featherweight octagon champion, as you know. He's put something on and he's called out Luke Riley, saying, right, come on UFC, let's make me and Luke Riley for UFC Paris. I'm not sure what that exact date is, but yeah, let's make us for that and I'll smoke him. And there's some absolutely outrageously insane people in the comments saying that Lawson Cater will be too strong for Luke Riley. they've obviously not seen Luke Riley's consistent performances where he hasn't lost. He's looked stronger and stronger. And then he goes back training with a room full of absolute killers where there'll be at least 7 or 8 of them all in the UFC soon. So for the European fans that are high on Octagon and not so familiar with Cage Warriors and Luke Riley and just think he's just this martial artist that just strikes, think again. But with that said, I'd pay good money to see that matchup all day long.
Yeah.
100%. And that is a close fight. That's not one that Riley just steamrolls through. Like, it's, we can believe that Riley will be a favourite in that, but people would have reasonable, reasons to say that Keita could win that because his record is also fantastic and he's proven himself to be one of the best in Europe. So, I mean, that's a great. That might be one of those fights that's almost a bit too good. You don't want to, you don't want to spoil Keita and Riley early on. You want to build them up a little bit, but. I mean, the thing with UFC, especially in featherweight, is a lot of killers in that division. So you could really stick him in there with anyone, and you're not too sure, how that translates over because, we've seen some of the best in the UK go over and it not go the way that we expect it to. So, I mean, look, Riley really is someone that could be, such a massive star in the UFC. But again, you take it fight by fight. And I hope that it's sooner rather than later. And I mean, that Keita fight, if they were to do that, then you stick that on a pay-per-view. That's like an ESPN like prelim main event, type fight you do on a pay-per-view if you're going to have something like that. So get Riley in there and get Keita in there while you're there. You may as well. I'd love to see that.
What a fight!
Absolutely. If they're not careful, the UFC, the PFL or someone will come in. They did put a post on today. What's the next PFL One Championship or the UFC Contender Series? He said himself, and I don't know how serious he is about it, but yeah, I'll retire. That's my mentality at the minute. But he is too good. Like, the kid is too good. Like,
if PFL is serious, they should put an offer in at least if they're serious. Look
what they've done with Paul Hughes. I mean, if Octagon come in with a good offer for him and said, there's a featherweight title fight with Keita now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a serious promotion, you might not get him, but it's like, if a good player comes up on the transfer market, you've got to try and get him. It's saying every top 6 club should be in free sack. You might not get him, but try and get him.
Absolutely. It was vintage Luke Riley. The interview was class what I did with him after it, weren't it?
Yeah.
I love speaking to Luke. It's always good to get him on. Another one that I got on in the co-main event who shown how good he was, and this was really a match away because we said in the preview, this is one to really test his mettle. Teddy Stringer moving to 5-0. There were some iffy moments, but what a way to get that rear naked choke and finish it as well. It was beautiful to watch, weren't it?
Yeah. The whole fight is just pretty. I think it was over within the first minute and a half or something like that. I thinking about watching the fight live, the only thing that I can remember clearly, like, was just how long he was just on his back, and then as soon as the choking arm got round his neck, it was fucking game over for Sheldon. Unfortunately for him, like, but I just think Teddy Stringer shown where he was at, and I think all those pullouts he had probably just made him fired up. And by the time he's got to the cage, like, I think he probably could have battered most of it. I think he could probably batter most people after the fucking 8-month training camp or something like that. He said in the interview with you, Dan, something like something ridiculous like that. Like, mate, yeah.
It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? The weight and the pullouts that he's had. But he could fight for a title next. Teddy Stringer is that good. I don't know if he's going to fight for a title, but he is that good.
Yeah, it's about stepping up now, isn't it? The statement gets made in the co-main event. Now it's, moving past, sort of the, I'm trying to think of a good, sort of the gatekeepers now, and it's about what Cage Warriors do best, which is putting up, big prospects against each other. So whatever that is, whatever that looks like, because there's more than one option, that's got to be next for Teddy Stringer, 100%.
Absolutely. And another stunning performance, Mr. Adam Cullen. Wow. The finish, the elbows, the brutality of it. The guy, he was match late. It was a catch weight fight. Irrelevant. He was just happy to get it over the line. And I think he was a jiu-jitsu, sambo, whatever he was, black belt or whatever the guy. So I think that was the way where he wanted to take the fight down that road. Adam had none of it. Another one that was able to show his strength and brutality. It was just a class finish. And the message for Harilla afterwards, he had the clown mask ready that got thrown into the cage and he's gripping it saying, "This is the fight next." It is an absolutely fans' favourite fight, and everybody was talking about it all week. He's still going to fight Harilla. So hopefully the next Manchester card in June, that can be made. However, I believe Adam Cullen's not that far behind Luke Riley, and he should be in with a shout for contender series in summer, or he's going to be in that bracket with a few of them. Do you know what I mean? Like Liam Gittins has called for it as well. But yeah, Adam Cullen proving again that he's willing to throw the kitchen sink at anybody to get the victory.
Yeah, and he just needs some luck, doesn't he? Because he's had so many pullouts in so many fights cancelled, so much. So he just needs a bit of luck and a run. And, you know, he's shown how good he is. So now it's about putting it all together with, and I'm saying that putting it all together, usually that means within his own skill set, but just means getting a consistent run of fights and having to have the pullouts. So you start with the Harilla fight, and there's room to scale up to a title fight off that probably. So definitely could be a really big year for him, and a great way to start is, you know, you've got to have the Brazilian in there, as I said last week, and he had that. He saw through that test. Not everyone does, and so yeah, really good win for him again. I think Cullen and Luke Riley was my first full force combat interview, so that'll be a lovely moment for them to get into the UFC together, off them being the first people we spoke to on this when I joined at least. So yeah. It'll be a nice little moment.
Not too bad names there to get you started. That what you think?
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think on the Nassau Junior, well, like you said, Nathan, it was definitely a test for Cullen, because I was stressing in those first 30 seconds, mate. When he slipped a little bit, and then Junior's just jumped in, and I was thinking, oh my god, this is a fucking nightmare, this. But boom, he's got top position. Just those elbows, mate. They were just, even though he was holding his hand up like that on the fight pass, you could clearly see they were bouncing off. He was just bouncing off his head, mate. And I was like, ref, step in, ref. He's not moving. There was nowhere for the guy to move. It was Cullen just on top of him, just bang, just smashing in those elbows, mate. Yeah. It was a fucking great fight. It was a great fight. A little bit of adversity at the start, similar to the Luke Riley fight, but obviously it was just fucking dealt with a lot quicker.
Absolutely, and working our way down the card, Ole Santolina moved to 15-8 unanimous decision win over George Smith. Emil Brown moved to 10-3. Jack Humphreys looked brilliant, moving to 3-0. That was one of the standouts of the night. That was a lot of people's performance of the night. That were Alex. Yeah,
mate. It looked fucking great. Before he got the choke and he landed that fucking head kick, mate, I thought it was game over. I thought the kid was done for, but it just shows how tough. It just shows how tough. Bakuma, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Bakuma, the Dutch lad, I think, he done well to stay alive there, I think, but shit happens. Jack Humphreys got the choke on. It was all she wrote.
Absolutely. Carlos submitted Sam Kelly. Sam Kelly moves to 5-4 now. Unfortunately, there's still time to turn it around. Ethan Charlton, I spoke to him as well, from Manchester top team. He moved to 3-0. Shea Ingram, who had Aban Elliott in his corner, moved to 2-0. And Aban said to me afterwards that he was really impressed with his performance. There was still iffy moments, but he'd come through it and got a terrific victory. But these types of fights for these kids on Cage Warriors, when they're having these iffy moments, that's what they're required. This is the whole point in the smart matchmaking, isn't it, Nathan?
Yeah, definitely. This is how you're meant to improve as a fighter. It's going through these tough matches and having those issues where you have to overcome adversity, and sometimes that may end up being a loss on your record. So, as some fighters have losses that make you look back, how did you lose that? But that's just the way you grow as a fighter. And we'll talk about it in a few weeks. Diego Lopez is probably someone with that. Someone that overcame that adversity, and look at him now. He's got losses on his record. So Cage Warriors do a pretty decent job of that. I was going to say for the Humphreys one, now it's time to sort of move over to those grittier fighters, the ones that may have a slightly tetchier record, but now those guys can give you the real tests and give you those moments in fights you think, oh God, is he all that we made him out to be? So yeah, it's always important to get out there and fight guys that are experienced and will make it tough for you and aren't just walkovers. If you make the fight a walkover, then that shows how good you are, but you have to put the test in front of them. There's different ways of passing it, and so Shea Ingram done the correct thing and won the fight, and that's all you can do. And especially, almost it's good to show some weakness in those fights, because then you know what you need to work on, and your coaches will know. So definitely important. The way they match up these fights in Cage Warriors is so important.
Yeah. Absolutely, and there's a lot that can happen in 1 5-minute round, let alone 3 5-minute rounds. So another one that was successful, Joe Fields moving to 4-0. And the next one for me, which is quite interesting, the way it finished as well, this has got major talking points, is Chris Price, 18 months out of the cage, moved to 6-1. We spoke to Crazy before. Amazing character, full of beans, was absolutely dominating the fight, and then some. And then it was just the most obvious, clear, illegal knee that ended it, Alex.
Yeah, mate, right, I just want to start off by saying Alison Moreira acted like an absolute fucking child on fucking Cage Warriors that night. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, Chris Price was in the turtle position / all fours, and he threw the dirtiest knee straight onto the top on the back of his head. It's fucking pissing with blood, and then the guy stood there going, what, protesting the disqualification. Like, the next gen team had to go and have a word with him. But yeah, props to Chris Price's fucking performance, man. He took him down in the first 10 seconds, something like that. He completely dominated the whole fucking fight. And then I don't know if Moreira's threw an illegal shot as like an easy way out sort of thing, or whatever. But yeah, Chris Price looked like he was still ready to scrap afterwards. He looked like he was when the ref walked over and brought the doctor in. He's there. He's there like what? And then but yeah. I kind of felt for him, but still, regardless, it was a complete domination. Great performance by Chris. Should be very proud of himself on that one.
It's just a bit bittersweet, and it's not just not the way you want to win. It's
just
a bit bittersweet, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it's not the great, especially such a dominant performance. You don't want to win like that almost, because it looks worse than it is for anyone that's sort of glancing. Might make you think, oh, they were being dominated and he threw a knee, and so it was just a moment of stupidity or something. But Chris will know within himself that it was a good win and deserved win as well, and that's what he's got to take away from it and just build on that, and just say 18 months out, get back in there, and maybe quick as he can, and then keep getting those wins together. And we know Chris is such a great character. I'm sure that's how he's seeing it, rather than, oh God, it wasn't the way I wanted to win. So I'm sure he's perfectly fine. And I look forward to seeing him back in the cage again, when he's all healed up from that knee.
Absolutely. Like I said, there's nothing to dwell on too much. You can't control your opponent's actions, but his performance itself, it's just testament to how good and how well he's been working. He's jumped on with the S&C coach, Paul Reed, that they all work with at Next Gen. And he just looked fantastic, didn't he? Considering he had 18 months out of the cage, I was really impressed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Straight out the back, just ran at him, took him down, boom, and then just dominated from there. He's a really entertaining grappler, Chris Price. Like, I know that a lot of the casual fans don't find grappling entertaining, but if you want to watch an entertaining grappler, watch some Chris Price. We'll watch some Chris Price fights, 100%.
Yeah, 1,000,000%, mate. And another one that made it 4 out of 4 on the evening for Next Generation Liverpool is little Francis Breen. What a finish that was. Yeah. Alex, he's moved to 3-1. He's said in the interview after with us, he's not no prelims fighter, and he's not, is he? He's too excited to be on prelims, man. He'll be like Luke Riley. If he can go on a run, he'll do it consistently. And he's only 24 years of age. You look at the strength of these characters, not just in the cage, within the cells, and you think, fuck me, what's your ceiling? It's dangerous. It's scary. What another spectacular performance for another next gen fighter.
Yeah. And I just want to add on that as well. All all of his all of his finishes have got a bit of like viciousness to him. There's like some elbows and knees in there, and just fucking stuff you love to see, really, innit? Like, but yeah, his opponent, this Elves Oliveira, but when he was walking out, it looked like he was about to cry. I think, on the fact he was walking up, you could see his eyes getting teary, and he was giving him a little wipe and stuff, and I was just thinking like, well, fucking hell, bloody hell. And then he come out swinging at Frambreen. To be fair, he did come to win, and but just another class finish onto his resume, I think, for Frambreen.
Absolutely. And Josh Adebayo was the early first one on from Team Renegade. I got a great little interview with him after, and I think I landed him in it. So the fight itself with him was a great fight. He took some big licks, some big elbows. That was against Aaron Pierre, who is another good fighter. But then Josh managed to pull through and get the stoppage, which was absolutely fantastic to see. It was a mega way to start the card off. Yeah. And then in the interview afterwards, training fat partner that everyone's familiar with, Fabian Edwards, was stuck right behind me. So I'm doing the interview with Josh, and Josh is telling me about preparing with Fabian and saying, preparing with a room full of killers, blah, blah. And then I say, oh, Leon's fighting next week. Said, are you excited? He said, are you going down to London? He said, yeah. I said, have you been helping him prepare for his fight? He said, no, I'm not quite on that level yet. So then me being me, dead out there, I say... So I said, Fabian's good enough to beat you up for now, but Leon's not. And Fabian's just gone, make sure you put some respect on my name, boy. I was like, oh, I've landed a minute now. But he said it, not me. That was his words. I just elaborated on it a little bit, you know. But yeah, great content. So cheers for that, boys. But all in all, Cage Warriors, 3 events, 7 days. They have absolutely delivered. 2 title fights. No titles has changed hands yet. But let's just finish this off with, who do we think in that Cage Warriors roster will be a new champion this year?
Adam Cullen, if he doesn't move to another promotion, I'm saying.
Can I have a moment of being maybe a bit silly? Who's the middleweight champion currently?
Dario Belanda, who's just defended it last week in Italy.
I might back Will Curry then to do that.
Oh, yeah. I think contender series, didn't you, Will? Yeah. So a title fight, that might be. I think you're on it there, Nath. Yeah. That's a very calculated one. That
he's fighting next week or this week. Sorry, as we got now ahead in the Indigo. Should we quickly touch on that card, because I mean this is Cage Warriors. It's all about Cage Warriors. I don't want to get lost in the UFC chat. Harry Hardwick, Javier Garcia.
Instead of doing the break, we'll just do this whole. Everybody can get stuck into this whole episode for. The preview for 186 as well.
Yeah, because we don't want to bury the lead on that fight night, because Harry Hardwick, Javier Garcia, that's a big fight, and this might be the last one for Harry Hardwick in Cage Warriors. What do we reckon?
It should be, yeah. I think a lot of them, especially around this time, they want to throw the hat into contender series, don't they? You know, it's around the summertime because there's only so many opportunities that these UK fighters will get. Jordan Vucenic had to take his late call-up opportunity, which is not really ideal. Nathan Fletcher, the Ultimate Fighter, which we know how that ended up playing out. It just never seems to be simple for the UK lads, does it? So, and look at the thing with Luke Riley. So I don't really want to say, yeah, Harry's last fight and da-da-da. Because it's not been Luke's last fight. Luke could have been at the end of 2023 when Luke got Fighter of the Year and Fight of the Year. That was the time to put him in. I think for the likes of Luke, it's 40 months overdue. For Harry, it's probably about the right time. George as well. He's defending his title. Could he get another crack at Contender Series? It remains to be seen, doesn't it? But I'm very, very sceptical right now, just with the whole how the Luke Riley thing plays out.
Yeah,
you're probably right.
Wait and see.
Because if he's that exciting, and there's no way that, obviously, because he was going to go in Contender Series, but they know what he's doing on a regular basis. He's 11-0. He's not dropped the ball, Luke. And if they're not looking at him thinking, yeah, come on, let's just get him on any card that we can, then they're not really paying that much attention to the rest of the UK lot, are they? Because Luke is the fucking standout and then some by a country mile.
Is it a case of maybe not taking the contender and saying, look, like, I'm good enough, like, we'll stop wasting time? Or, because I almost don't mind that, you know, in that sense of if fighters are saying, look, I'm not better than, but I deserve just to be straight on. Why do I need to go through? Why do I need to be locked into this contract that you want to give me for contender series?
Yeah, it's visa issues with Luke. That's why he said on the comms, he said, I'm in a small ditch, I need a helping hand. That's it. Come and fucking get me out of this ditch. You put your hand out, pull me out, and I will provide the fucking goods for you. As he has.
He's good enough. Good enough. What's the thing with, just because I was just looking, George Hardwick had his fight cancelled against Lucas Clay. What is he coming onto this card and fighting?
He's got he's got a replacement. It has been put on social media today. If you just give me 30 seconds.
Yeah. I think his last name's Silver. I've seen it before. I joined before I jumped on.
Samuel Silver.
Oh, okay. We'll see. Let's have a look at him. But yeah, that will be both brothers on that card. I mean, and we spoke about Harry Hardwick, you know, not quite having, you know, maybe this being the right time. George Hardwick, I think we all thought that was the time for him to go to the UFC when it didn't quite work out his way. So we're going to have to see how it goes for them, because we know how talented they are. But I mean, this fight for Harry at least is not easy against Javier Garcia. He's a good fighter. And so he's going to have his work cut out. And another man who's going to bounce back, hopefully, or come in trying to bounce back off a contender series loss is Will Curry, who's maybe future middleweight champion. But to do that, he needs to beat Eli Aronov in his ready fight. He's also coming off a contender series loss. Here's a bit more dramatic, lost in the first round against Zach Reese. But I mean, this hopefully for Will Curry is just a chance to show people, look, don't forget, this is what I can do.
Absolutely. I think for Harry in the title fight, that Javier Garcia's been trying to get into his head a little bit. He's been telling everyone that he's the best featherweight outside the UFC, but he's got 5 losses on his record, and he's only like fucking 15 fights into his career or something. But he's a fun character. He's got the big mustache. He talks the talk. However, can he walk the walk in London? It's a different kettle of fish. He's been fighting on his own shows. I'm not saying he's not been matched correctly or he's been matched well to get his wins. But Harry Hardwick's a different beast, isn't he? He's another very strong one, and he hits hard for a featherweight, Harry Hardwick. So I'm just expecting a Harry Hardwick dominant performance. And for George, same as well. He's fighting another former LFA fighter. That's another tricky test. However, I'm expecting another dominant performance and history to be made. 2 brothers successfully defending the titles. Will Curry, as you say, win this, Belandi next. The timeline's perfect. A fortnight between each other fighting. Yeah, make the Will Curry Belandi fight if Will Curry does the business, which again expected. There's also one of our favourite boys on the card, Joanny Scott, as well, which I'm really excited about. If he wins, he's got to be in a flyweight title fight this year. Just for how long? What I took away from your interview with him, Nathan, is not just how long he's been fighting professional MMA, it's how long he's been fighting MMA altogether. I mean, look at his first MMA fight and look at the name he beat his teammate Lonnie Calvert, who was absolutely flying in the UFC. He was about to make his UFC London debut this week. But yeah, Joanny Scott definitely could fight for a title. He's an amateur boxing champion. He's an Olympic, is it weightlifter or something like that? You name it, that kid's done it. I think every fighter has a lot to their armour and has a lot to their artillery in terms of more mixed martial arts and the pathway into it. But with Joanny Scott, he's an all-rounder, isn't he? He's a weightlifting flyweight champion. He's gonna be a problem for any flyweight on his journey, absolutely at any time. So I'm really excited to see him. And who else is the standouts, fellas? It's a big card. It's another big card in the capital.
Tariq Bell looking to come back. Obviously, he lost last time out in the Indigo. I don't know whether this event, his win against Blundell was at the Indigo. It was. So he's had a mixed record there, but he's fighting. I'll give myself a bit of a name here. Ermil Hafari. That he'll be fighting that. It's a 4-on-1 against 5-1-1. So that is a pretty well matched fight. Both guys on an even keel there. Oli Sawa 5-0 fighting against Rory Evans. Tommy Brunning, someone we spoke to before, he's not had it all his own way since he won his debut professional fight at the Indigo last year. He'll be looking to turn that around against Kadeem Perkins, who's 1-0. So a couple guys on that, and I must give a shout. If you saw me on my phone sort of frantically sort of looking something up, I was trying to fact check this, but I'm pretty sure Mim Grubb, who's fighting Riri Hudson, trains in Exeter, trains at the Lions Den in Exeter. So best of luck to her, and I hope she can get it done, because we need some more representation here down south. So I'll be rooting for her to win that fight. Sorry, Riri, I'm sure you're lovely, but I've got to root for her locals.
I like that you're backing your home fighter, but she's got to work out against Riri Hudson, mate. Jesus.
Going to be tough, and she's going to try and bounce back from that loss she suffered as well. So both going to be very hungry, and it's on the main card, which I think
it's on the main card, isn't it? And so they've both got a point to prove there.
Because there's not many women's fights in Cage Warriors, is there? There's just not, just through not potentially being a whole lot of fighters there, but it's always good when, and hopefully a chance for, you never know who's going to be the next star really to emerge from there. So it'll be good to see that, and hopefully one of them can have a really entertaining fight, and then that will hopefully deliver. But it's a strong. I mean, these Indigo offerings always are, because the eyes are on there, because people are sort of, it's like the warm up for the UFC event as it was last year. So definitely going to be exciting, and a couple of prospects on there as well to keep an eye out for.
Absolutely, because it's UFC weekend. I think you can ram, if Harry and George both produce the goods as well, you can ram them all down the UFC's throat. So did you see Luke Riley last week? Did you see the Hardwick brothers last night? Get them in the UFC. And I'm all for that. One thing I did want to touch on as well is, and it's a shame because it's like the marquee division in any combat sport, really. The Cage Warriors heavyweight division, it's non-existent.
Yeah,
I've never thought about that before now until you just mentioned it.
Bring it back, man.
Bring quite a lot of light heavyweights, but no.
There is obviously the light heavyweight scene in Cage Warriors has been good for a few years, and it was the last time James Webb and Andy Clamp, which was a good level matchup. But yeah, man, bring back the heavyweights. Just sign 8 random heavyweights, throw them in a Grand Prix, boom, when he gets the title. Happy days. You don't have to make it a prize. You don't have to make it a prize fight tournament. Just make it a fucking Grand Prix, and that's the selling point, isn't it? We've brought heavyweight division. They're just random heavyweights at like 4 or 5. I know you know that ones that maybe have fought on level,
good ones.
like Louis Sutherland, who fought on levels fight. That he wants to fight for the title. I'm sure that he'd rather fight for a Cage Warriors title in his home nation rather than well, I don't know, but this is what I'm saying. Create the opportunity for these fighters and make the offer. I'm all for that. It's something like that.
If they can find good, sorry to interrupt, if they can find some good prospect heavyweight MMA fights, because you don't want, that, I don't know if anyone was subjected to the Cortez Acosta Span fight, but you don't want any of that. You want something that is real. These guys are actually, there's a chance for them, and the UK should really be a breeding ground for them, because we've seen two right now of the best heavyweights in the UFC are British, and why not try and you have to cherry pick, and I think probably that's why there hasn't been so many, because Cage Warriors tend to sort of almost cherry pick a little bit and say, look, they try and get the best of the best for what they've got generally, at least in terms of the fighters they promote on the A side. But I agree with you. Let's just try and find 8 of the best, and as you say, someone like Sutherland, that can be the name that we've got. Louis Sutherland, we've got Sutherland there.
There's a draw there,
involved, and build on that, because I mean, was it Abraham Babley's in the PFL tournament? Am I right in saying he's a heavyweight? There must be people there if the PFL are putting him in the Grand Prix.
What I mean, exactly. That's a brilliant example of that, Nathan, because he's only like 5-1 or something, 6-1, and he's in the world. It's not in the European tournament. He's in the world. Abraham.
That's it. So there's obviously guys there. So try it, and then they should do that. Cage Warriors in a position they can do that for all weight classes, really, and some are just naturally more stacked. But let's put in some effort for some heavyweights and get some good MMA fights, because good heavyweight MMA fights, because I feel like if you've been watching UFC, your palate might need to be cleansed a little bit. So Cage Warriors, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. But Cage Warriors, as I said, producing the goods, 3 shows, 7 days. And they've got that one coming up this week in London, and then the schedule doesn't really slow down. I think there's a little bit of a break, and then they've got Ireland. Don't know if they're doing Newcastle, but they're definitely doing Ireland and Scotland, aren't they, on the schedule? So there's loads more to look forward to Cage Warriors, and there's loads to look forward to from us. You can head over to our Instagram, check out all our clips and reels from Fight Night at 184 and 185. There's about 14 to 15 interviews there, not just with the Cage Warriors. There's a Barn Elliott, Mason Jones on re-signing with the UFC. I got some good content with my man Shamrock, who, don't know if anyone's seen, he did a bit of a Mystic prediction. So I asked him pre the Adam Cullen and Luke Riley fights how he thought the fights was going to go. And obviously he's a training partner, so he does know him like the back of his hand. However, he predicted it to a T. He got the Cullen elbow finish to a T. He got the Riley finish to a T. So big up Shamrock for the content and getting me the views. Love to you, bro. And everybody, don't forget, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and tune in again next week.